The ultimate underdog story. The Rocky of Dota 2's pro scene. A story where dedication and perseverance ultimately overcome all odds to emerge victorious. Speed Gaming's incredible run at the MLG Columbus 2013, where legends were made and legacies were born. It all began right before the International 3. Loda and the rest of the Alliance kicked out Eternal Envy and replaced him with EGM. This left Eternal Envy without a team for TI3, for the team he put together was deemed as not worthy of an invite to the TI3 qualifiers and led him to be sidelined from the event. History was made as the Alliance won the International 3 in epic fashion, writing their names onto the Aegis of Champions. Eternal Envy was left in the dark as a mere spectator, watching his former teammates hoist the Aegis of Champions with his replacement. But Eternal Envy didn't give up. He put together a team of 5 relatively unknown players: Pylai, AUI 2000, Sing Sing and Bone7, and formed Kaipi, which was later picked up by Speed Gaming. Speed Gaming's first premier tournament was the MLG Columbus 2013, featuring some of the world's best teams at the time: Na'Vi, Alliance, DK, Speed, Liquid, EG, Fnatic, and a prize pool of over $130,000. The event was easily the biggest Dota event since the International 3. This would be Eternal Envy's chance to prove that they were one of the best teams in the world. A chance at Retribution. But the odds were not in their favor. They were beset by a huge blow right before the event kicked off. Bone7, the team's offlane player, was unable to obtain a visa in time and couldn't compete. With less than 2 weeks before the event, Eternal Envy had to replace one of their best players. There weren't many options. Speed Gaming chose Arteezy. This would be Arteezy's first LAN tournament, and his addition pushed Sing Sing to the offlane, a role he was unfamiliar with. With the team being scarcely able to practice a 5-man unit before the tournament, things weren't looking good for Speed Gaming. On the first day, it got even worse. Sing Sing and Pylai arrived in Columbus mere hours before their first match and were completely jet-lagged. It showed in their play, and Speed Gaming opened the tournament with a crushing loss to Alliance. Further losses to Sigma International and Fnatic followed.
And Fnatic just take care of business. They're going to knock down Speed Gaming. I gotta say, this Speed Gaming team, Merlini, we expect better from them. They are not playing as well as what we've seen them play online in the past.
But Speed Gaming entered Day 2 of MLG as a completely different team.
We're going to be bringing you Speed Gaming International versus not as sincere Na'Vi. They're actually going to force this out. Nice ultimate going to come out from Havos. They're going to try and pick off Arteezy. Maybe not. Havos actually going up, but he's run into a trap. They're looking at him. 3 heroes just turn and fight him. Nice arrow actually lands on Crew. He's going to fall as well. Another 3 heroes go down. A 4th on the backside. Funnick is going to get picked off. Tier 2 goes down. 13 to do. 12 minutes in. Speed Gaming's just dominating Na'Vi right now.
Their first match of the day was against Na'Vi, and they took it handily. Next up, they downed Pretty Boy Swag, EG, and Team Liquid. With a 4-3 record, Speed Gaming went up against the undefeated, seemingly invincible Team DK. A win here was absolutely necessary for their chance at the playoffs. Exploiting DK's vulnerable Ursa pick, Speed did what few expected them to.
Pylai, he's looking for the shackle shot. He gets it! Nicely done. Pylai getting in front of Burning and locks him down. They get another pick on Burning. He's going to run right into the Eternal Envy. Burning going to go down to the beginning of the map. Mushi dragging Arteezy away. They're going to try and finish him off. Arteezy still alive. He gets off another auto attack. Chain Frost is going to be able to finish him off. Speed Gaming takes another wipe, and GG is called by Burning.
Their semi-final match was against Sigma International, a team boasting the likes of Seb and Fata in their roster. Speed Gaming completely outplayed them in the semi-finals, beating them 2-0 and strode into the finals for a rematch with Team DK.
Arrow's dead! Arteezy's alive! I think he's gonna live, he will fall, but Prada does too! Born to fall, they won 5, effing mad! He's the lone survivor here, he's gonna go down, and once he does, that's it! There's no
leap,
buyback.
Scott leap, there he goes, Pylai, that's gonna clean it up!
The All-Star DK lineup that showed up at the Grand Finals was playing at a completely different level compared to the one that Speed faced in the group stages. They took the lead early in the first game, but Speed was able to pull it back and take over the game, steadily building up an advantage and went for the killing blow.
They're just not taking damage.
Blink! Oh, second slam. He's got one slam. He's got a second. He's taken out one already. He's going to get AUI. What a play from Lamb!
Unbelievable! What a tournament! That Saint's gonna fall.
Lights is back. He'll bring down Envy.
One would think that Speed would be shattered in the face of such a heart-wrenching loss. But they took it in stride and performed even better in Game 2, with Eternal Envy showing the world how to play a Blink Clinkz to perfection and took the series to a championship-deciding Game 3.
But Ice is still alive for now. He's being healed up. Saint one more right clip, gets the kill, pays with his life. 1 for 1 here, but it was a bigger investment, at least initially, from DK.
Hey, hold on. GG gets called by Burning. We're going to Game 3 in the Grand
13,
Final.
it's our final match. We've gone the distance. Who's gonna win?
In the final game of the tournament, both teams started fairly even, but Speed Gaming took control of the game, working together with precise decision-making and immaculate coordination, and amassed a massive lead. Burning made a last-ditch effort to save the game with a Divine Rapier, but Speed prevailed, team-wiping the All-Star Chinese team to win MLG Columbus.
I think they're going for like a triple 4-step conga line into the pit. Get ready
One
for it.
picks and
They're
Burning
coming
may
now.
die.
They pop the Shivas, they 4-step in, they drop the ult. Burning's gonna drop, Rapier hits the deck. Nobody picks it up. They don't even need the Rapier. They say, we'll kill you anyway. Now Sing snagged it. He's gotten the big, bad sword for himself. Lamb dead.
GG Speed Gaming are your champions here at MLG Columbus.
In a scene dominated by the all-star juggernauts like Alliance, Team DK, and Na'Vi, Speed Gaming's win at MLG showed the community that Dota will always remain a game where hard work and pure grit can and will pay off.
I was doing engineering. The more I watched like StarCraft, like Jadon Flash, like the more the people like that play, like StarCraft and StarCraft 2 and Dota 2, the more I hated school. Like the more games I watched, the more I realized like that's not what I want to do. So I realized that like in order for me to be happy, I have to make sure that I try this at least, and if I fail, then at least be like, you know, at least I tried, so I don't have to think about it anymore. Or also always be like my life could have been different.
I think he's the most try-hard person I've played with in my life. Yeah, that sounds about right. He really wants to win. Like, he tries his best everywhere he goes.
Michael Jordan.
Just like be responsible, I guess. Actually, it really helped me become more responsible because I was like just a clown, you know, didn't take anything seriously. Because I think like school didn't matter to me, Dota didn't really matter to me. I was just like a clown. But like after that, like people actually try a lot.